Welcome to your deep dive. All right, so you guys know, I love digging into the nitty-gritty of how kids learn
Yeah,
and how we can support them best at home.
for sure.
Right. And you sent over some fascinating stuff from Conduit
Mm-hmm.
about these new learning activities they're sending home for parents.
Yes.
And what really caught my eye was this emphasis on handwritten work,
Oh, interesting.
right? Like in this digital age,
Yeah.
we're all on screens all the time. And
Exactly.
they're like, nope, get out the pencil and paper.
Yeah.
And I thought that was really interesting, especially knowing some parents might,
Push back a little.
freak out a bit. Like, my kid can't write that much.
Totally.
So let's unpack what's behind this approach.
Yeah, let's get into it.
So from an educational standpoint, what's the deal with this handwritten stuff?
Well, they're tapping into something called retrieval practice.
Retrieval practice.
Yeah, and essentially what that means is like when we pull information from our memory, it's not just like a passive act of remembering. It's more like we're taking a mental path
Yeah.
and we're paving it into like a super highway.
Oh, I like that.
The more we use that path,
Yeah.
the stronger and more accessible it becomes.
So it's not just about like rote memorization.
Exactly.
It's about like actually flexing those brain muscles.
Yeah, strengthening those connections.
Got it. Got it.
Yeah.
So I see here they're doing this through daily math and reading questions
Yes.
that kids are supposed to answer in writing.
Exactly.
And like I was saying before, I can already hear some parents out there being like,
Oh my gosh, there's no way.
my kid hates writing or they can't write that much.
Yeah, for sure.
How does Conduit address those concerns?
Well, one of the things they talk about is scaffolding,
Scaffolding.
which is such a good visual. You
Yeah.
know, you think about like, scaffolding on a building.
Right.
It's that temporary support structure
Yeah.
that helps to build something that will eventually stand on its own.
Okay.
Right? So in education,
Yeah.
scaffolding is about giving kids that right level of support.
So it's not about doing it for them.
Exactly.
It's about giving them the tool.
It's about giving them the tools to be successful on their own.
Love it. Okay.
Yeah. And so, like, I was thinking about this the other day.
Yeah.
It's kind of like training wheels on a bike,
Ooh, yeah.
right? Like, in the beginning, those training wheels provide so much stability.
Yeah.
They help the child learn to balance.
Mm.
And as they gain confidence,
Yeah.
you gradually remove the training wheels and they can ride independently.
So Conduit's doing that with these learning activities.
Exactly.
I see they're providing like sentence starters,
Yes.
word boxes, basically giving kids a framework
Yes. A structure to build upon.
to build their answers on.
Exactly.
And it seems like they're really striking this balance of like high expectations,
Yes.
but with realistic support systems in place.
Absolutely. And they're not just doing it for students either.
Right. I was just going to say, it looks like they're scaffolding for the parents too.
Yes, because we have to remember
Hmm.
parents aren't necessarily educational experts.
Right.
Right. We need support and guidance too.
Yes, absolutely. And, there's this line in here
Mm-hmm.
about, focusing on what students can do rather than their limitations.
Yes.
And that really resonated with me.
I love that. And I think that's a really crucial point because when we focus on a child's strengths and their potential,
Yeah.
we create such a more positive learning environment.
Mm-hmm.
And when you bring that mindset into the home environment,
Yeah.
it can be super transformative.
So it's almost like Conduit is really intentional about making home like an active part of learning.
Yes.
They're not just like sending homework out into the void.
Right.
They're creating this structure for families to engage with it together.
Totally.
But I have to ask,
Mm-hmm.
isn't there a risk of like homework battles?
Oh, absolutely.
Turning family dinners into like a war zone.
Oh, yeah.
How does Conduit address that?
Well, I think they do a really good job of acknowledging that that's the reality for a lot of families.
Yeah.
And the materials that you shared, they actually talk about that
Okay.
and how they offer resources and support to parents.
Okay.
Because they recognize that for this to work, parents need to feel equipped and confident too.
It's not just like, here's the homework, good luck.
Exactly.
Right.
It's about really creating a system of support that includes parents every step of the way.
Yeah. So it's like they're helping parents become active participants
Yes,
in their child's learning journey.
exactly.
They're building this bridge between school and home.
Yes, and I think when you think about that, it's incredibly powerful because you're involving parents in this way. So you're not just reinforcing the concepts that are being taught at school, but you're also fostering a love of learning within the family structure.
Wow. So that's a big takeaway.
Yeah.
It sounds like, Conduit approach is using these research-backed methods like retrieval practice
Hmm.
to really cement learning.
Yes.
They're bringing parents into the fold, making home an active part of that learning process.
Mm-hmm.
And they're doing all of this while offering support and resources to both students and parents.
Exact. A very holistic approach.
Very cool. Well, this has been fascinating.
It has.
We've just scratched the surface here.
Totally.
But, there's so much more out there to explore
For sure.
when it comes to, learning science
Mm,
and how to make home a more engaging learning environment.
definitely.
So before we go, I want to leave you with something to think about.
Okay.
What aspects of Conduit's approach stood out to you? How might you adapt these ideas to support learning in your own home? Think about it. Keep exploring,
Stay curious.
and we'll see you on the next deep dive.
Sounds good.